I found them to be less reactive. But then also, when they are reactive, it means business. It's not half-hearted. Elephants have given me the best experiences out here. And I could spend the whole day with them. It feels like they're talking to you or communicating with you, even though you obviously know you're speaking English and actually have a language. And they're on their own means of communication. But when you sit with them, it's like they're actually somehow communicating with you. I don't know how. I don't know why I feel that way. But you do. You don't feel like you're watching them. You feel like you're part of them. Even if they're upset with you. You're still part of the situation, not watching from afar. BG, you'd like to know what fruits and berries elephants love to eat? Definitely marulas. We're going to move a little bit forward. They are very comfortable with us and happy with us. Definitely marula fruit. That is a firm favorite. Absolute firm favorite. The berries of a buffalo thorn as well. Loved by humans and elephants alike. Alright, there's one here. Let's have a look at you. White berry bushes have really nice berries, but I'd imagine that they're too small and finicky for an elephant to get much pleasure out of them. But basically, if it's edible, they'll have a go at it. But marula definitely wins that race.
Sorry that we lost everybody there for quite a while. We had a little bit of difficulty locating that mother and two. We did locate them, and they were unsuccessful on that little attempt. You could see how everything just, at like 1 second, everything just unraveled. She saw the impala, they went after it, the impala picked them up, the impala obviously made their way out the area, and they've actually made their way into quite thick vegetation where I would unfortunately have to push down trees or negatively affect the animals while they're resting. So we've decided just to leave them as is. And it's typical for cheetah like that to be unsuccessful. 50% of their hunts end in unsuccessful attempts. And that just drives her more and more. So maybe this afternoon we'll give a little push back into the area, see where they are, and hopefully we'll get lucky. But we were just appreciating this beautiful oryx that's hiding behind the bush now. It was actually eating on the biltong found on the tree over here. The seed pods from the blackthorn. Viewer made a comment yesterday, it looks like biltong. And the oryx was just busy nibbling on the fallen seeds from the blackthorn. Let's just see if he's continually moving. Where is he? Okay, let me just move up for us and hopefully we can get another little gap there. It's a beautiful bull. A very impressive looking male. Let's see if we can get him. You guys are having a jam-packed morning, it sounds like it. But this female will definitely try and see where she moves this afternoon. And to go to the meerkats now, by the time we get there, unfortunately they would have moved off from the burrow. So what we're going to do is we're going to adjust our plan of action, and instead of going there, we're going to actually search for a pair of jackals that myself and Glenn have been seeing up and down this road. And if we can get that pair, hopefully we can really build a nice relationship with them in the upcoming weeks. It's a beautiful sable. Let's just back up a little bit here for you folks. Okay, Glenn's giving me the okay there. Glenn and myself know this individual. You can see the left-hand horn broken. So that will never grow to the extent at which the right-hand horn is growing it. And he's also eating off the blackthorn. So those little seed pods obviously holding a little bit more nutritional content than the grass at the moment, and being adaptable, like we've mentioned earlier, it is a very big advantage for animals to tap into different food sources. Oh, question time. Yesterday a question was asked about the longest living bird in South Africa. From my little bit of research I did last night, just to make sure that I'm giving over correct information, excuse me, I dislike making mistakes, and sometimes I muddle myself up, like I said yesterday, and I make mistakes here and there, and I really don't like that. But from my knowledge and from my little bit of reading that I did last night, it seems to be the southern brown hornbill would be the longest living bird in South Africa, living up to between 30 and 40 years. And that correlation with size is definitely a factor. As an organism, not just birds, but multiple organisms, as the animal's body size increases, it does have somewhat of an advantage, because it's not going to be predated on. So if it's not predated on, that means its reproductive rate is slowed down as well, and their lifespans increase. So something like an elephant, 60 odd years, something like a rodent, maybe a year. But the rodents they will have a very quick, very large reproductive litter, but also very, very quick. Unlike an elephant, which has a long, drawn-out life, she'll then reproduce at a steady pace throughout that lifetime. But great question, and I learned something there yesterday. 30 to 40 years, that southern ground hornbill, fantastic bird. I have not actually seen one yet. That would be a lifer for me if I could. But really nice information. That's stuff like that where, if you're not asked and you don't read across it, you don't know. And that's where questions are very important to unlock those intriguing questions that people might have. And that knowledge now is accumulated. And I have that for life. So thank you for the question. It really stimulates me in a different avenue, and I enjoy it thoroughly. Also, birds. Oh, I love my birds, oh my word. You guys must notice now. 2 days ago, there was a question asked about how many birds are endemic to Tswalu, or the Tswalu region. So, looking through all the distribution maps, I've come up with a rough figure that would be 9 birds that are not endemic, they're near endemic. So, their range would predominantly be in the Northern Cape, which is the largest and least inhabited province out of another 8 that we have in South Africa. And so these 9 species, it could vary a bit less, a bit more, depending on how you're looking at it, but I've just got a rough estimate, and they're predominantly in the Northern Cape, and they wouldn't be found in other provinces in South Africa, but their range would
Hey guys, sorry about that. I'm sure we'll get Tswalu back, but we are now on our way to Kalahari. Does that make you happy? It makes me very happy. It's been a really relaxed sightings day, which is very nice. So we'll spend some time with Kalahari, and she's all the way in the east. I've got to get there quite quickly. So she's all the way in the east, and then that will also become busy, as the lions did. And then if we have to leave her, we can come back to the lions. Really nice day of variety. I'm so glad that we got to spend time with the elephants, the hyenas, even though it was stressful, but that is the way that it is in the bush. And it's also interesting to be able to watch that and be able to see that you can't plan these things. Sometimes it just happens the way it happens. All right, I'm going to make my way very quickly to Kalahari, and I'll see you there.
So we've just been called, and there's actually this female cheetah that we've got now been found with her 2 cubs, and they're trailing behind her. It seems like she's actually spotted something. She just got up as you got to us. There you can see the cubs just starting. Oh, running towards Mom. Oh, look at that. How lucky were we this morning? We've been finding quite a few animals coming and using the time that there's no rain. Look at that with Mom. And Greg and I actually saw quite a few yellow-billed kites and vultures and so in the area, so it looks like she actually has eaten something recently. You can see that stomach is nice and round there. Even though she looks skinny, you can see that tummy is nice and round. See how she's bobbing her head around. She's definitely spotted something in the distance. Oh my goodness, there's one of the cubs like coming really close to us here, coming to investigate the vehicles. Look at this. Nature Love, you're asking if cheetahs are territorial. Well, you can actually see my hat, sorry about that. So female cheetahs have home ranges, so they'll have areas that they'll stay in, that they'll kind of try and raise their cubs and keep them in. But males are very, very territorial, so they'll actually scent mark and go on territorial patrols also. But females are not that territorial. They're actually not territorial at all, but the males definitely are. Look at that, all of them coming out into the road here in front of us. It was actually quite a long distance view when we got here, and then they just got up. Look at this one. One of them is going there to a small tree. I think he's going to go and, see how he's inspecting the tree there. And, there we go. Sharpening his claws a bit, clawing the tree there. Here comes the next one. And exactly the same thing, there we go. Oh, look at that face. They are so beautiful. Oh my goodness, look at that. It seems like he wants to climb on. But look at that pose there. So beautiful. Using that little tree just to raise himself up a little bit. Already showing the instincts of the cheetah, trying to raise himself up and scan over these open plains that we have here. Look at that. Sticking very close to Mom. You're asking how long cheetahs live. The life expectancy of cheetahs are quite different in different areas because it's a lot to do with other predators or so. But generally it's somewhere between 15 to 20 years. On Pinda, it's probably around 16 years or so. See how they're on the move. Oh, there's the sun coming through as well. Oh, that's amazing. So nice to have the sun come out after the bit of rain that we've had. I'm going to actually see if I can move the vehicle just a bit forward. They're just here behind this bush now. Take it nice and slow. There they are. They're actually smelling the ground where they are. And I think it must be that there's some scent, maybe a previous cheetah that came to the area, that came to and scent marked around there. See how those youngsters are super interested. So we were talking earlier about how if they're territorial or not. So this might be some males that have come through the area and maybe scent mark there. Or maybe even a female that's moved through the area as well. But see, this female, she actually spotted something on the other hillside. I haven't seen it yet, but she's kind of heading in that direction. I wonder what she saw. See how she stops every now and then and just scans before walking on, making sure that there's no danger or anything like that for her and her cubs. And you can see the black behind the ears really shows us where she's listening to, straight ahead. And see how she bobs her head around very quickly every now and then, like something's catching her attention. Oh, what a beautiful animal. Here goes the last youngster. Tail flicking away some of the insects, maybe biting her on her back, or the flies flying around her as well. Look at these youngsters starting to play a bit. With their full bellies and the warm light of the sun coming through now and everything, I think these youngsters are quite energetic, and after lying down and sleeping for a while. Okay, they're slowly going to disappear over this little ridge that or dip that we've got in front of us. Oh, she might be crossing this like dry riverbed seapline area that we have in front of us. So I think what we'll have to do, because it's still very wet in this area, but there's one or two roads that we can drive on the other side. We'll see if we can get in front of her on that side and see where she goes from there. I think Greg and I are going to do that.
Sorry about that, folks. We're having a little bit of signal issues this side. We're very far from everybody, but we've followed up with this beautiful male oryx, and if you take a look on your left hand side, he's going to come into view right now. Look at that. So I'm not too sure where we cut off from that conversation. Just it was a Gavin that asked that question about how many species would be endemic to this area. Or Tswalu region. Nothing to Tswalu itself, but in the region, yes, about 9 species, and give or take that number would vary, but predominantly found in the Northern Cape and none of the other provinces. So being in Tswalu is a perfect chance to see those rarities for the country, especially for big birders like Gavin himself, that was supposed to go to the Kalahari to go and look for some of these beautiful and elusive birds. But what amazing oryx. It's well into his years. It's definitely a male. You can see how thick those horns are. So I want the viewers to start focusing on really identifying for yourself the thickness of the horns and adopting the skill that you can identify a male and female. It's a really nice tool. In the beginning it's really tricky, but as you look at oryx more and more, it becomes a lot easier. Yo, this chap is on a mission. So males are territorial, so this is why he's by himself, and rule of thumb, males are generally by themselves. They like to be solo, whereas in females they really like to stick into small nucleus, or what they refer to as breeding herds. But let's scoot up a little bit more over here. Here's our friend from last time, wanting to get a little nibble, just holding him ever so lightly so I don't hurt him. That little cattle louse fly, look at that. So he just landed on the side of my face and he thought, great place for a little meal, a little hungry. But blood is a very important part of their life cycle. Obviously they need it. Typical of insect, you can see the jointed legs, arthropod. We looked at that beautiful millipede yesterday, that exoskeleton of the millipede. So once again, still falls into the arthropoda group, but this insect in comparison to that millipede we looked at will be in different, what they refer to as classes, different class, and that's because of the body plan. That beautiful animal have that elongated cylindrical body. This is broken up into head, thorax, and then abdomen. If I hold him ever so lightly, you can just take a look at the undersides. Okay, I'm gonna let this one go. Please don't fly onto Glenn, don't fly onto me. And Glenn, let's go. Oh, here he comes. Alrighty. So we're driving on this road really slowly. It's because we're trying to locate this pair of jackals that we've been seeing here constantly. Jackal, I love jackal. People ask me what my favorite animal is. It's a nudibranch or nudibranch. It's a specialized marine slug, but on the terrestrial basis, has to be a jackal, hands down. They are very active, very cunning animals, and I've learned quite a lot about them in the past couple of years. There's this oryx here, Glenn, for us. And he's on the move again. He's definitely going somewhere. Could be going to water. Or just a little bit shy. So as he moves, a little bit of browsing, a little bit of grazing. More than likely going to go to the water for a little drink. But let's send you off to another amazing location on this continent.
Well, I have the one and only Maasai ostrich, our largest bird here in the Mara. Look, he's eating tissue paper flower. Look at that. I never knew anybody ate the tissue paper flower. The reason it's called the tissue paper flower, it resembles tissues. It resembles somebody's having, dropped tissues all over. Hence its name, tissue paper flower. This guy here has got another mate who is kept at bay. I don't know if it's because they're both coming into season. When they come into season, their legs and neck become very pink, almost red. Remember, in the feathered kind, in birds, males mostly come into season and they have these elaborate, astonishing, beautiful plumages that they get, and those excite the females. They also have some amazing dances to try and actually prove that they're ready to mate with the females. And looks like it is the case here. Looks like the males are coming into season. There is 2 females. These could be very civilized couples if they are 2 females and 2 males. Females usually are gray, and this is their permanent color. They never change. They're always like this. Whenever they feel like they're excited also, they will spread their wings and sort of put their heads down. It's like a sort of being submissive. But the males has to do more than just having those colors, and usually it has to do a mating dance where it goes down on its knees, yes, on its knees, and then does spreads out the wings and does the mating dance. Megan, thank you for your comment. Yeah, they're beautiful birds to watch, and they're very, very tall, almost 7 feet tall, full height, so they're actually taller than us, and also they can run really, really fast, almost 20 kilometers an hour, and they can maintain that speed for very, very long. So they're actually very safe being out here with that tall neck and the speed. It is nice to see 4 of them. They're making a comeback, because some years back they were really affected by the incoming of ostrich farms where people just drove around and collected eggs. But since that has been monitored really well and the demand for their meat is no longer like it used to be, they are coming back. Here looks like they're eating seeds of the star grass, and you can wonder how it can satisfy such a big bird. But the answer is, if you do it every day, you just need to top up. Looks like they don't want the male really, really close to them, so they're trying to keep a distance. At the same time, you can see the spreading of the wings. Sometimes it's a way to tell the male that they're actually also interested with him. Yeah, it could be interesting, but they're not ready. Look at that, how she's spread that. It's like, yeah, I don't think they are ready. So it's just that courtship behavior that they're having, but you can tell the male is coming into season. Lucas, Jumbo, you ask the males aren't supposed to be pink? Yes, they normally have a grayish color, or they have sort of slight pink, but not as pink as they are right now. They do get really pink, almost turning to red when they're ready to breed. And by the behavior you see here, the females spreading their wings and the males staying very close, means that they are he's in season and the females are almost ready. You see how he's following that female? It tells me that he is in heat and the female is not ready to mate. Although he is the one that is in heat, the females has to be ready to mate. So we are having a very good number of these guys coming back, which is a very good bonus, and I'm loving it, because we never go through a day without seeing a couple or a flock of them. Usually after mating, a female will lay eggs when she's ready in one spot that one of the females will choose, an appropriate spot on the ground, very hidden, away from predators. And actually, believe me, it's very hard to see or to find an ostrich nest. They will lay eggs there. They can be up to around 50 eggs. Maternal instincts are very strong. Is it Bethany? Jumbo, what do they use their wings for if they can fly? Well, for the male, without the dance that he does, using the wings, he cannot mate. The dance, he uses the wings, and usually he has to spread the wings, and so the female has to see the full dance while he's down on his knees. So without the wings, I don't think the male will mate. And also when running, when they need to turn, they actually spread their wings side to side, and it helps them actually make sharp angles. Also, when they have young ones, they cover them or they shelter them in the heat of the day, or when it's raining, they shelter them so that they don't get really wet. This is going to be very interesting, because the sort of behavior the female is portraying there is that she's almost ready, but the male has got other plans. And I think the plan here with the male is he's trying to get rid of the other male who is across. Bungay is going to show you that. I think he's trying to tell the other male across, these girls are mine. And usually they don't fight, they just chase each other. The other guy to the right is standing his ground, so I don't know what's going to happen. And also he's got his neck stretched out. I don't know if you're gonna see a scuffle. There's a standoff. They're waiting for the referee, maybe. But definitely this kind of behavior tells me that the male is full on in season and he doesn't want the other male close. Usually he chases him away. You can tell the other guy is not as pink. This is the colors I was telling you. They normally are in just grayish pink, not as pink as the one to the left. You can see there's a big difference. So the guy to the left is full on in season, and he doesn't want the other guy close, although I don't know if he's intimidated by the size of the big guy, and so he stopped there. And he's thinking twice either to go for the guy or not. Or maybe there's a drop off there that we can't see, and so he cannot get to the other side. Are they on the other side? I don't know. there is something happening. Either he came across a snake there that he doesn't want to go past because he did look down. Could be a monitor lizard. There are very many around this area, but looks like definitely they don't like each other. The one to the left is the one in season. The one to the right is an intruder. After mating, usually the male doesn't stick around for very long until the female starts sitting on their eggs. Then he will come and help with the duty of sitting on the eggs. I was saying that maternal instincts are so strong, the female knows and can identify her own eggs. Whoever sits on the eggs, she will know her eggs, and so she will push them towards the middle. And so she guarantees that her gene continues to live on. Mortality rate is very high from the beginning. Almost a quarter of the total will survive. So let's say if it's 50, maybe around 10 to 15 will survive. You know, threats facing them are usually predators like jackals, leopards, lions. Also natural disasters like too much sunlight will kill them. Too much rain will also kill them. So they are faced with a lot of difficulties from day one. They are really cute when they're young. They're very striped with brown feathers. You don't think they'll get this big, and also they'll get these coats. Looks like the male to the left is still interested in something, but he has decided to turn back. I don't know what is in his mind right now, what he's gonna do, but you can tell definitely that he's full on in season. What are you thinking, ostrich? We have another type of ostrich in Kenya. It's called the Somali. I think it was first discovered in that country, and it is found north of equator, all the way from northern Kenya, Sudan, South Ethiopia, Somalia, Eritrea. That is where it's found. It's much more, it's got almost a bluish neck. So it's very different. Yeah, he's walking back to his gulls. I don't know how far they are. Where are they? Oh, they're there. Yeah, looks like it's a sort of a distance. I don't know when he gets there. I'm gonna wait and see, and if something happens, we'll definitely share it with you. And when I do that, while I do that, let's see what another safari vehicle is up to.
From the ostrich to some lions here, they tried maybe to make a kill. We saw a bunch of zebras walking past, and they're all staring at this area. So I came here to investigate and came across these 3 lions. There's a sub-adult male here who is resting. These lionesses look a little bit skinny, so it seems like they might try to find something to eat. About 3 or 4 days ago, they had killed a buffalo. So this means that they might be finding something to eat today, because they looked like they were pursuing the zebras but missed out, because as you know, zebras have very sharp eyes, and sometimes when they're walking to go to look for greener pastures or very good grazing grounds, they will always avoid the bushy areas like this. See at how this young male is concealed. You can't really even tell from a distance if there's lions here. And that other lioness is joining her sister. They look super skinny. Yeah, she looks a little bit thin. She needs to find something to eat soon. She's stopping to look around to scan as she's following her sister. These are about 2.5 years old, so they've walked out of their pride with this male because their mothers are busy mating. These are from the Ololo pride. And sometimes when the males walk out of the pride, their siblings will follow them, but as soon as they start mating, they will not be with them. They will still head back to the pride while the males will walk away. I'm not quite sure whether his brother is around because we always see them in four. These 2 males and 2 lionesses. He's a young male by the look of how his mane is. Elizabeth, yes, some animals do have ligament, but we have what we call tendons. We have between the front legs we have metacarpals, and on the hind legs we have metatarsal. So there's tendons that we have between the front legs, which we call the metatarsals, and then on the hind legs called metacarpals, which is very interesting to see. Sometimes when you find the big elands, the tendons on front of their legs will sometimes snap and click. He's cleaning himself. Their tongues come in handy when it comes to cleaning or grooming one another. At this age, he's not entirely dependent on the sisters. They can do a coordinated hunt because he's still not as heavy like a fully grown lion, and still the mane is not very big. But sometimes the males can really expose them, and that's why the big males sometimes don't get to hunt. But look at him. You can actually mistake him to a lioness as he's walking away. A little stretch there. Probably some yoga. Then he's going to join his sisters. So he has a long way before he becomes a pride male. So, because he has his brother around, they'll be walking around, becoming scavengers, walking from territory to territory, until when they become prime, where they can come and oust a male from a pride. And in that time, he has a long way to go. So he needs at this time to depend on the sisters as they carry on hunting and traversing through territories and territories. That was quite nice to see. So we'll carry on and see if they're going across over to the open space on the other side.
Namaskar. Well, one interesting part that you missed was only that the male has separated the two, and he surely did show that. He chased one to the left and then the other one to the right. I don't know what is the strategy here. Maybe the girls were having too much gossiping, and so he wanted to really concentrate on him. This is a behavior that they do. They normally will split one, and then they'll stick around with the one. I'm sort of thinking that he's adjusting the color of his legs, because I think he was pinkier than this earlier, and it's sort of maybe reducing. I don't know if I'm seeing my own things, but I thought I saw that. He's eating a lot of seeds at the same time as he's getting ready to mate. Well, with them, you can never tell when it's going to happen, unlike lions and elephants where you have an open behavior. Here, he's just inching in towards that girl to the left, nice and slowly. And I don't know if eating is one of the courting behaviors. It looks like she's not very okay being by herself now. She's walking farther and farther down, or farther away. Yeah, she's also eating. Oh, there's a beautiful herd of elephants right behind them, coming out. Remember, talk to us, #Wild Earth. Question, comments are very, very welcome. It's a beautiful scene here that I have of my two ostrich males and 2 ostrich females. Looks like the ostrich in the middle there is ready to mate, but the females aren't ready. So he's playing his tricks. I think he's been through this before. Looks like he's very, very experienced. He knows what to do. First, he has kept the other male at bay. He has come back, separated the 2 girls. I don't know if that's the last strategy before he mates. It is a very interesting way of mating when they mate, because he's the one who has to Andrew Jumbo, you want to know if the chicks knows who is the baby mama. Well, even though the female does know that her eggs are in the middle and she will guarantee her offspring to thrive, all the other eggs are adopted by the existing females who sits on the eggs, and she takes care of all of them. They become hers, and she is very, very aggressive and very protective of them when they're young. They usually combine efforts with the male, looking and taking care of them. You will find that one will be very close to the chicks while the other is quite a distance, and then they take turns to do that. When it rains, she'll sit down or he'll sit down, and they all go underneath him for protection. So she adopts all the eggs, and all the chicks that hatch belong to her. So she will adopt each and every one of them. Well, looks like they're quite a distance away now. I don't know the plants that are going through here, but definitely he is very pink. Bungay will share that with you, and you will see that that is the language of love. It's saying that I want you, I love you, without using or expressing or writing a letter without using any words. That is how you tell it. Yeah, it's interesting because I think he can be able to adjust these colors. 1 minute he's very pink, one minute he's not as pink. I don't know if he's adjusting them as he gets close to the female, or it is the angle that we're looking at him from. I'm not sure. Yeah, definitely he's in season. I'm hoping we can get to see this, but when, I don't know. Okay, let's find out what's happening somewhere else.
Take your hat off. Welcome back. it's always really spectacular to see that transformation that a male ostrich would go through. And having them up in East Africa, they do have a bit of a slight color variation in comparison to this common ostrich that we have down south here. But really spectacular to see that breeding plumage coming into play and how he tries to strut his stuff for the lovely ladies. Myself and Glenn have decided just to come into a sociable weaver nest, just take our time and look in between the foliage and look on the nest. This is when we'll have these cobras slowly emerging and coming to nests. We need a little bit more rain, so when we have above 40 mils of rain, these birds will actively start breeding, and that's when the cobras go in hot pursuit of these little easy meals. It's very important that you accumulate enough energy through the favorable period, because when it comes to the onset of winter, they need to use those reserves in order to push through the cold winter until the spring arrives again. But it's really nice to watch these birds go in and out the nest. You'll see that a few of them are sitting on the branch that Glenn has got in picture there, and how they make their way vertically up into the little entrance, which is on the underside of the nest. And it just totally mind blows me, the skill of the bird, how the bird is able to fly vertically. So the precision and then also the judgment of when you're coming to that nest entrance is quite amazing, of how they need to close the wings and then fall into this little hole and then crawl up. But really remarkable to just sit here and enjoy the spectacles of the Kalahari. But what an amazing morning we've had. Cheetah galore. And it's been a really amazing morning for us, and I hope as well as for everybody else, the viewers. Thank you very much for joining us. It's been incredible, and without you guys, this wouldn't be possible. It is such a beautiful experience to be able to share all of this wondrous. Oh, is that a snake? Oh no, it's not. Sorry. To be able to share all these wonders of nature. But from our other locations, the efforts they've put in today, Final Control, the viewers, we can't thank you enough. 3 p.m. Central African time, be able to please join us, and we'll see you later.
Can you believe it? This is just absolutely insane.